One.
Master Sword Music.
TJ the Gamer. Yeah, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, yeah, this the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus got one of the best casts that you have ever seen. You really missing out if you haven't heard that this show here to stay. So go pass the word, old school or new school. Check us out on YouTube. It don't matter what you like, we got something for you. Just one more thing to say before I start to close. Shout out to my homies at the Chronoz Show. The Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, that's the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, that's the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, that's the Chronoz Show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round,
Thunder, 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 Thundercats! Ho!
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Chronoz Show featuring the Gamers Realm, episode 99. We're right before 100. We're not quite going to hit 100 next week. We've got some things going on, so get excited for the rest of the month. But right now, let's get excited about this episode in particular. So I'm your host, Ryan. For some reason, I've been given the reins tonight, and so
today's it's actually the Ryan Show today. Ryan
Show. Yeah, we'll see how well that goes. But so my co-host,
right here, I'm co-hosting today.
Down in the middle, Chronoz, the man behind the show. And our special guest for tonight, back again, live from Japan, we have KiiRA from Ginger.
Hi. Hi. Hey, everyone.
It's good to have you back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
I guess kind of let's sort of ease into things with just kind of give us an update on how you're doing, sort of what's new, and I guess we'll throw in to kind of make it relevant to the theme of the podcast. Like, what are you playing lately? What are you into lately?
Okay, man. Well, I guess the last time I talked to you guys, or since then, I did go to America to visit friends and family, which was really nice and very needed after like 2 years of just being in Japan straight. So that was good. Was able to do an anime convention and do panels, and it just felt really good to like go back and do that. But at the same time, I love living in Japan, so I'm back in Japan. And I've been playing a lot of games. When I came back to Japan, I did have to do the it was like a 10-day quarantine that I had to do, so I had plenty of time to play games. In America, I bought Monster Hunter Rise and got into that game. And what a great game. So mostly just lately I've been playing and beat the story for Monster Hunter Rise and Pokemon Legends Arceus. Actually, it's so funny. Yesterday, I bought a copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I finally own that game. 14 million other people have that game finally. I finally decided to pick it up, right? But I've been getting back into Animal Crossing a little bit, but as soon as Kirby comes out, that'll be on my list to play.
Yeah.
And
that's just nice.
The demo was really good for that. And then just anything that drops on the Nintendo Switch Online, I've been playing. There's a lot of games I want to play, but like in the US, the PlayStation 5 situation is not good here either, so mostly just Nintendo games at the moment.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna ask actually if it didn't come up, that you bought. I saw on Twitter that you bought.
Yeah, I guess
America.
I did just post it on there.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Should play.
Chronoz has streamed it before, like has streamed tournaments before. We both have it, so
cool.
Once you've had some time with it, I would love to have some matches with you.
That would be fun.
And yeah, I guess so. We'll get right away into sort of the key things that I had thought we could talk about tonight, because you said you had gone to America and you'd gone to the convention. I actually just reviewed this evening, or I guess mid-afternoon, our last conversation, and so you actually you had those plans at that time, and you talked about like, I hope it's going to be possible. So it's cool to see over Twitter between now and then, that worked out and you're able to do that. So tell us to start. Tell us more about the panels that you do.
Yeah. So I was originally supposed to do MagFest as well, which is like, it stands for MagFest is Music and Gaming Convention, which I highly recommend if you ever have a chance to go. It's a fantastic little, well, not a little event, but quite the big event. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go because about 2 weeks before the event, my family, went through the COVID thing. So I decided to cancel that convention where I was supposed to run 30 years of Sonic the Hedgehog. So I canceled that just to make sure, I didn't have it and could get over it if I did. And but then the next weekend was Ichiban Con, which I was totally fine for. And went to Ichiban Con and I ran 7 panels. And I don't know if I could even like remember all of the ones that I ran, but mostly anime ones and a couple living in Japan panels. So like what it's like to live in Japan as a huge anime fan or as an otaku, and the kinds of things you can do, like going to maid cafes and shopping and going to arcades and all of that stuff I put into a panel. I did my anime review for anime of 2021 anime review. So where I talk about, I probably had like 15 or 16 different anime that it aired last year that we talked about in that panel. Oh man, what else? We did 2000s anime you missed. So there's a lot of anime panels at conventions that are like 80s anime that you need to watch, and like nostalgic 90s anime and stuff, which are really cool. But now we're kind of getting in the time where like the 2000s is like retro now, right? So at least to me. And I did a panel about 2000s anime that you missed. Really, those were the big ones. I did do the Sonic the Hedgehog panel, of course, which was really fun. It was a really good time cosplaying with friends and running the panels. It had been like 2 years, probably over 2 years since I had last ran a panel that wasn't like an online thing. So it felt really good to do. It was a lot of fun. So I definitely want to do more conventions this year too, if I get the chance to go back and visit the US.
Cool. Yeah, so I was aware you've done this sort of thing before. So can you tell us a bit about like how long have you been running panels? How did you get into doing that? Like what sort of led to how did that opportunity come up for you?
Oh man. Yeah. So my first convention was called Anime Mid-Atlantic. I believe it was either 2010 or 2011, and I was still in high school at the time, or just out of high school. And I didn't really understand the whole panel thing or how conventions worked in general. But the very next year that I went to Anime Mid-Atlantic, which used to be held in Chesapeake, Virginia, in the Virginia Beach area, I was like, well, what is something that I can talk about for an hour straight with no problem? I was like, Sonic the Hedgehog. I can talk about that for an hour straight, no problem. So I did at that time, it was 10 years ago, so it was called 20 years of Sonic the Hedgehog instead of 30 years of Sonic the Hedgehog. And so I ran that, and that it was just so fun to talk about something that I really enjoy and that I'm really passionate about, and with other people. And so from there, I just started doing a lot more anime panels, because at the time I was doing some YouTube videos, but not like, I needed kind of another more personal outlet than video format. And so doing panels was just such a much more personal format of expression to me, because you get to like talk with people in the audience and like make so many like in real life friends. And so yeah, I just started mostly focusing on anime panels, and then I visited Japan, and I was like, well, now I'm gonna start to do some panels on Japan. I'm visiting Japan, and then of course when I moved to Japan, all of these panel ideas came, and yeah, I've just been really lucky to be able to do panels all the way from Anime Mid-Atlantic in Atlanta. I've done ones at in Ohio at KoTetsuCon. It's been really fun. So it was really tough not to do them for a while because of the pandemic and stuff. But this year's looking bright for cons, so I hope to do more.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
You mentioned doing, and I remember I saw like part of. You're talking about Girls in Panzer, I think. Is one you had mentioned it when you were still live streaming, and so that's how I knew about it. And I caught a little bit of it, but so I know you've done at least like one virtual panel, but how much of that kind of have you gotten into over COVID?
So yeah, oh man. So well, that actually made me forget that one of my panels was anime IRL, Japan's real life anime locations, and which I did run at Ichiban Con back in January in America. But to answer your question about the online panels, yeah. So I have a friend named Brent, and he does a YouTube channel called Anime Archaeology. And he does these like really in-depth reviews of anime and very like almost like educational content that also has to do with anime. And so he's from the DC area, so he goes to a lot of like Virginia, Maryland conventions that I went to, and so I had seen some of his panels in person. So I subscribed to his YouTube channel. And then when the pandemic happened, he was like, I'm going to start an online convention called OnCon. And he's ran it like 7 times now, and I've been able to do panels at like 3 or 4 of them. And gosh, it's just a really cool way. I wish there were more things like it, where he'll just run a like 11-hour live stream and do fan panels, and he runs a charity auction, which the money for that goes to the Animator Dormitory Project, which goes to animators in Japan who like work for really low wages. And so it's just like money to kind of like help them out. So it's really fun, and you get to just meet people from all around the world, and it's a fun time. So if you ever have the chance to catch OnCon, it's pretty fun.
Okay, yeah, cool. Awesome. Chronoz, did you have anything that you want to ask at this point?
No,
I know I've been doing a lot of talking.
No, it's fine, guys. Take your time. I'm okay. You're so big on anime, so of course. Tell me when I tell you Ephraim lied, what comes to you?
Elfen Lied. Oh man, it's so funny because I was just thinking about this past week.
Huh? Did I say it right? Ephraim Lied? How do you say Ephraim?
A lot of people say different things. Oh man, I would go get my manga in there. It's actually written in Japanese. I think in Japanese it's like Edifin Lido. So I want to say it's Elfen Lied, but I could be wrong. A lot of people say Elfen Lied, Elfen Lied. I've said both before. It's kind of like Pokemon Legends Arceus, Pokemon Legends Arceus. No one really knows. What was the question?
Well, when I say that, what comes to mind when I say that? Like, what gets to you?
The first thing that comes to mind is how I probably should not have watched that show when I was 13 or 14. But I had access to it. It was on, that show, I want to say back in like 2007, 2008. It was actually on YouTube. Back in the day on YouTube, you'd watch anime in like 3 parts. Like,
really?
Episode 5, part 1. And that, because back then on YouTube, there was like the 10-minute limit for most channels. So they had to upload the anime episodes in 10-minute parts.
But they were getting away with putting stuff up that's basically copyrighted.
Oh, yeah. Back in like 2007, 2008, all the time. Well, I mean, it would eventually get taken down, of course.
Right.
But I remember like back in 2007 watching Lucky Star. I watched that on YouTube. And just so many anime. Like, and there's still some anime that kind of sneaks through that you can find on YouTube. That aren't like official, like not under Funimation's channel or anything. But yeah, back then especially, YouTube wasn't as tough on copyrighted content, so you could find this stuff easily. But the first thing that comes to my mind with Elfen Lied is one, I shouldn't have watched that show when I was like 13 or 14, but I did, and I'm actually glad I did. And two, the second thing that comes to my mind is that is a lot of people. It's like baby's first edgy anime, baby's first edgy dark anime, and a lot of people like to take a dump on Elfen Lied, which I don't understand. I think it's a great show. I love the show, and it's one of the few shows that I can watch over and over again and not get tired of, I think. So yeah, overall,
Was it just one season? It was just one season, right?
Yeah, just the 12 or 13 episodes, and then there's the manga, which keeps going, which I recommend because the manga does more with does more and has more story, and it keeps going on after where the anime ended too. So if you're interested, if you like to read stuff, I recommend that.
Oh,
yeah. But a lot of people, I love that show. A lot of people will make fun of it, but I don't understand. I absolutely unironically love the show.
I think for me, that was one of my first introductions into anime, and that was the first thing I saw. Like when I actually put attention to it, and it just blew my mind away, story wise, and just the character. I fell in love with the whole thing, the main character. Like, dang, it was deep, and she was such a badass, the character. And, but it's just still, and it had its sad points and all that. I remember being emotional about it, and I'm trying to find it again. And I will when you put, watch the whole thing again. Not around my son, he's too young for that. I started to watch it on my own, and it's just that's one. And I've seen a lot since then, since the early 2000s, and just kind of to now. I'm doing more of that. I'm starting to watch more anime movies, things like that. And now it's just I just love that one, and I'll always cherish that one as my favorite of all time. So I just wanted to ask what your thoughts were on that. Ryan, have you seen that one?
Elfen Lied? No, not yet. I have a list compiled of things I need to watch. I actually am, out of all the Ginger Gaiden content I haven't watched, it's primarily, I mean, there's some newer ones I haven't seen, or not like new ones, but like towards the newer end I haven't seen, but it's primarily all the anime videos, because I can't just sit down and watch that. I need to like be on my computer, pull up like a notepad or some kind of document, and like pause every few minutes when you start talking about a new one, be like, okay, what's the name? Make sure I Google that I have the spelling right. And yeah, because I'm trying to make a list of, I mean, not that I don't have enough things to watch and play and whatever, but let's add to that, because why not? I mean, God bless Funimation and Crunchyroll for allowing an option where I don't have to pay any money to watch stuff on that.
Right.
So I have accounts now on those, for better or worse. So eventually I'll watch some.
Elfen Lied, I will say, it's a heavy one. Lots of blood, lots of gore, suggestive things. So just be careful around your kids. But it's still really great. I think it's a really good. It's a good intro series for like how serious and dark anime can be, because people they just look at Japanese or animation in general and they're like, oh, this is for kids. Well, this show definitely is not. So just a fair warning.
Yeah, that's good to know. I because my son in particular is into anime, as it's one of the things that we really bond over. And I actually told him, I think we talked last time, I said I was watching through all the Ghibli movies, so I did watch them all. And I told him afterwards, I'm like, I get that you like these two, and in particular you started watching them because I was talking about them so much. You cannot watch Grave of the Fireflies. Like, I forbid.
Yeah. How old is he?
He's 11.
Oh,
so he's like maybe getting to the borderline of it, but I'm like, you
Grave
won't
of the Fireflies
want to watch it. It's uncomfortable to like.
Yeah.
I thought it was good, but I didn't like it, is my overall.
Yeah, it's hard to say that you like it. There's another like World War II, like atomic bomb, has to do with the atomic bombings and stuff, film called Barefoot Gen, which is, if you can believe this, in my opinion, even worse than Grave of the Fireflies in terms of sadness and just like how brutal it is. So, and it's like you can appreciate shows like that. Like I appreciate what Grave of the Fireflies is doing, and from an artistic standpoint, I love it. But it's also just hard to be like, I'm gonna sit down and watch Grave of the Fireflies and Barefoot again today. Like no one says that, you know.
Yeah.
So I totally understand.
Out of all of their movies, I might never watch that one again, despite.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a one and done kind of thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's any worse for me because I have 2 kids. They don't live with me. I'm divorced. But an older son and a younger daughter. Not the same age difference, but it's just like I can almost feel what that's like, and I'm just the whole back half of the movie and was like, just suck up the sucky situation that you had with your aunt and go back and don't. Yeah. It's too. It hits too close to home. I think is part of. Anyway, that's a whole.
Yeah.
digression.
I feel like Elfenlied is like that too. Like I think the only reason I'm able to watch Elfenlied over and over again is because there's like nostalgia with it. Because there are some scenes that are like suck to watch, and you're just like, why would you sit down and watch this? But again, it's just like a nostalgia thing, I think. And I think the older I get, the more I can understand Elfenlied as well. So there's that.
Man, that was great. I think I'll eventually get back to it, maybe, and probably be like, damn, I watched this before. It's because I know I'm going to go back to it and remember all of it. I just know that it was. Man, I can't wait to see it again. I tried to find it again on Netflix and it was gone. I'm like, son of a. So either way,
it might be on Funimation. I'm not 100% sure. They might have the dub on there. Man, but you know, I want to say you might be able to easily find the DVDs too. I mean, it's because it's short and it might not be too expensive.
Yeah, I could probably order it online or something like that because I do want to see it. One of those things I really want to do soon is find it and watch it, or have it, keep it where I can always go back to it, kind of thing. But yeah, I have a question. Well, you mentioned, what is the PS5 situation in Japan?
It's very similar to the situation in North America, I would say. You know, it's funny. Just I think 2 days ago, there was a restock on Target.com. And, you know, within 30 seconds, the restock was gone nationwide. So it's like, thanks, Target, for stocking 7 PlayStations nationwide. And it's kind of a similar situation here. Like, Amazon Japan will put out stock, and then within 30 seconds, they're gone. So it's just impossible, right? Japan does a thing where you can sign up under, like, a lottery or a drawing to, like, win the chance to pre-order PlayStation. So like, for example, it's kind of like a Best Buy in a way. It's called Yamada Denki. So I'll go on Yamada Denki's website and I'll put in my information, and then like 2 weeks later they'll send you an email like, oh yep, here you go, you have won a pre-order for the PlayStation 5, or nope, try again next time. And so I've entered about 5 or 6 of those, haven't had any luck, which is so annoying. You can't, it's like in North America as well, you can't walk into a store and buy the PlayStation 5, and it's so frustrating.
So I think I don't know. It's like, I mean, I got super lucky. Wait, so you don't have one right now, right?
No, not at all. Okay. I really want one.
I don't know. It's just like crazy how I just happened to be walking into GameStop, and I know it was supposed to be the next day. It was supposed to be come out pre-order. So I was going to try to run the GameStop the next day, but I was there the day before. I was finishing my payment for Mario 3D All-Stars, and I was walking out. Thank you. You know, I grabbed it. The manager, I can hear him on the phone. He just gets off and he goes, "Well, it looks like we can now pre-order now PS5s now." It's like Sony did something the day before where they told GameStop people, "Oh, go ahead and do it," even though the next day was set off. I'm wondering if it has anything to do with scalpers and stuff like that, where they're scalping that day of, they're waiting for it, and then they just, all of a sudden, I just heard it, and I said, "I'll take one." He's like, "All right." I was just, the second it happened, and it was boom, I reserved it for 50. How the heck? And then I called my brother in Texas. The second I did it, he went straight to GameStop, got his right away. So it looks like it was everyone knowing at the right time, and we were just like doing that.
How lucky.
It was
You
just
have to be lucky these days for
oh,
that.
it was just that, but I'll be honest with you, I'm playing my Super Nintendo more than the PS5 right now, and it's just something. My original, I mean, I'm still playing this one, my original Illusion of Gaia.
Oh, Gaia. Nice.
For if I'm doing that, I was doing the other day. I was playing this. It's like when you go back to retro gaming, you start doing more of that. So it's just kind of, oh man, I mean, PS5 is great, but in a way, it's really cool. Got some great games, but it's just my time it has been more for my retro and the Switch. So my next question, real quick, what is your have you done anything with have you played any of the new N64 online games with like Majora's Mask? F-Zero just came out. Interested in that, or you're not into that much?
Yeah, so F-Zero, I had only ever played the GameCube one, which from my memory was not my favorite game at all. But I never played F-Zero Nintendo 64. So now that it's on here, I'll probably give it a chance. I haven't yet really played it yet. Like really, the number one game that I had been waiting for is Mario Golf, and that's not out yet. So, well, Mario Tennis is a big one, like one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games. So I want that out. Alan is playing through Majora's Mask, and it's the first time we're both experiencing Majora's Mask for the first time. I had no idea. I'm not like a huge avid Zelda fan, but I didn't realize how different Majora's Mask was to Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy that I never knew this about Majora's Mask. I knew it was a darker game and a little bit of a goofier, sillier game maybe, but the whole concept of like time and the days passing and you having to redo things over and over, I didn't know that that was a mechanic in the game. And so that's been really interesting to see. So he's almost through with that. It's going to be nice to finally understand more Zelda lore watching that game. So that's been really cool. Banjo-Kazooie is one that I haven't touched ever, honestly, that I need to, but my favorite Nintendo 64 game of all time is Snowboard Kids from Atlas. It's like a snowboard racing game. Such an amazingly fun racing game.
It's not online yet, is it?
No, it's not. I don't think they've even announced it. It's mostly just been like more Nintendo first party kind of titles. So this is an Atlas game. So not sure if it's even ever going to be. I hope to God. I mean, I have an English copy of the game. I have a Japanese copy of the game. So I can play it if I need to. But man, it would be nice to play it. I'd never put it down on Switch. Yeah.
There was a video where you found that Japanese copy.
Yes.
Like, right? Yeah, you recorded that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's it for me. I got more questions, but it's only when Ryan touches up on a topic that I'll have questions for. Interesting questions I want to ask. But Ryan,
I think at this point, so we asked about, kind of led into the convention stuff from, you talking about getting back to America. So the other, I don't want to say thing you do at convention, but like, people didn't go to conventions for a reason. So another thing that you do at conventions regularly or often enough, and I know this is another thing that you have, not a video like showing you doing it, but you talked about the experience of how different it was in Japan. But so you do cosplay, and we didn't talk about that at all the last time you were on, because you always have like not only so much going on, but you have so many different facets to you that are interesting and that are worth talking about. So
many hobbies, so little time.
Yeah, so that's a great thing, is you're someone that we could easily and you're very easy to get along with as well, and good to talk to. So we can easily have you on multiple times and not really worry about like what are we going to talk about. So, this and so that's awesome. But tell us more about your cosplay. I know we talked kind of leading up to this about getting together some pictures of cosplays that you've done. So I don't really have a specific question. I guess maybe you could you can talk about that however you want. But I assume you kind of picked ones that are more favorable or were harder to do, or that you have something to say about. So like, I hope that there'll be some kind of connection there, but just go essentially.
Okay.
Tell us about that.
Sounds good. Yeah, I guess some of the pictures I sent you guys are mostly like a bunch of recent ones that I was just like, okay, I guess these are recent enough. Because, you know, with the pandemic and everything for the last 2 years, I wasn't really cosplaying and going to events and stuff. Like, in fact, January 2020, right before the whole world like exploded, I went to Sendai Comic-Con, which is back in Miyagi Prefecture, Japan. And I wore my 02 costume. That was the first time I had cosplayed in Japan. So like in America, when you cosplay, you know, you could just you usually get dressed at your house or at the hotel, and then you drive to the convention, or you walk over to the convention center. And in Japan, it's so different. In Japan, you actually get ready at the event, so you can't show up in cosplay. So you have to like bring your stuff with you. And the other interesting thing is you actually pay to cosplay in a way at the event, because you have to pay for your like dressing space. So like, for example, I paid like $5, I think, and they give you this, like, I say a space, but it's not really like where you have like a vanity and like a nice place. It's not like you're backstage at a theater, right? So when I was in Sendai, and they just kind of put you in this like corner that's walled off, and you just have to like sit there with like 100 other cosplayers. I think it's probably 40 or 50 at that time, and you have to get dressed yourself. You have to like, you better bring a mirror if you need to do your makeup and your hair and stuff, because they don't like have mirrors or anything. It's not like you're at like a sink with a mirror or anything. So, you know, I go back there and I'm like putting on my makeup and my wig and my costume, like all by myself. I didn't bring a friend with me at the time. And so it was really nerve-wracking. Like, oh man, can I get my cosplay by myself? So there's that. That's like the biggest difference between cosplaying in Japan and cosplaying in the US. But really, it's just like, I have made some of my cosplays, but recently I've just been buying a lot, because it just takes so much time and energy and money to make a costume. And like, I appreciate people that can make them, but some people they want to cosplay their favorite characters, but they just don't have the time to make it from scratch. And so like, I've done both, and I can fully say that I'm totally okay with just buying a lot of the cosplays. In fact, I bought, especially these days, like you can buy almost any character you want. It's such a good quality. It used to not really be like that back in the 2000s and early 2010s and stuff, but it's just so much easier to buy them now. And I don't know, it's just like another really good outlet for, man, I appreciate like this character design so much from the series, and I just want to be them. And there's like no better outlet for loving a character more than like drawing them, like fan art drawing them, or like becoming them in cosplay. So it's just a really fun thing. And hopefully, now that we're hopefully nearing the end of the pandemic and everything, conventions will start to be more common, especially in Japan too, and I'll be able to cosplay more, because I've just really missed it as a creative outlet. So it's really fun.
Yeah, awesome. Chronoz, are we able to show some of the
yes, I'll show the pictures, and if you want to talk about, let's say, each particular one, you know, I'll do that too. I'll post the first one. Here's the first one. I might go over our faces.
Okay. Hey, okay, so this is actually just interesting because so TikTok has been really popular for cosplayers. And so I'm like, you know what? I want to try this. Like I never really tried to like act out the character or make videos in cosplay to the extent that they are on TikTok. So I was just like, I'm going to buy like a cheaper cosplay, something I can get together really quick. So this is Mari Ohata from Love Live Sunshine. And so I just like put it together, and I was like, I'm just going to like make some, I only wore this once, this whole getup once, just to make TikToks. And so it kind of, this cosplay really was like, oh man, like I kind of want to get into cosplaying on TikTok more, which I did for a little bit, and I've kind of fallen off that now. But that's kind of how I did this one.
Okay, we could go to the next one. Hold on, sorry.
This is from the Japan event, Sendai Comic-Con. So this is 02 from Darling and the Franks. I actually need to sell this cosplay because I've lost a lot of weight since then and it no longer fits. So I have to get a new one. But this was really fun. This was taken by my friend Hiro. Hiro is someone who I met at that convention. He's a Japanese photographer and he does like nature photography too, but he also goes to these events and takes pictures of cosplayers. So I was really nervous because I was the only non-Japanese person at the event. So I was like, what if people just think I'm like some weird American white girl trying to like get on this cosplay thing? But everyone was so incredibly nice. Oh, it was such a heartwarming event. Really boosted my confidence. So I did buy this one, of course, too. So yeah, this is a fun one. Definitely one of my favorite anime waifus. 02. So this was a group cosplay that I did with some friends at Otakon 2019. And so this is from Tokyo Mew Mew. I don't know if any of you guys watched Mew Mew Power back in the day when it was like airing on Foxbox and 4Kids and stuff. And so this is from that. This is Lettuce. And yeah, we just had a big group of all of them. So much fun. The hardest part about this, we did all buy the same costume so that we could all match together. The hardest thing about this was actually the wig. So I had to buy the, the base of the wig, the top of it, and then 2 wefts, which are like really long, 2 braided wefts, 2 like really long braids. And so it was a little bit annoying to put it all together, and it was a very heavy wig to deal with. It was a very expensive wig too, unfortunately.
Nice.
But all around, yeah, this is a really, really fun one. I need to bring this cosplay out again. It was so fun. Oh man, so this just goes to show that cosplay doesn't have to be expensive. You can just like get things out of your closet if you have to. So this is mostly all stuff out of my closet. Like this jacket, this green jacket, this is Sakura Futaba from Persona 5. I wanted to have a cosplay where I didn't have to wear a wig. I didn't have all this stuff hanging off of me all the time. Because this was at Ichiban Con and I was running like 3 panels that day. So 3 hours of programming, and I didn't want to just be bogged down by cosplay all day. So the headphones, pro tip for anyone wanting to cosplay Futaba, the headphones I got on Amazon for like $10-15, and they're like they look exactly like the ones Futaba uses just about. And the shirt, $10-15 on Amazon as well. And then all I had to do was like get I already had that green jacket, already had those shoes, already had those socks. So yeah, pretty easy closet cosplay that really only cost me maybe $30 to $40 to do.
If I remember correctly, when you streamed, a lot of people that watch your content are like, oh, IRL Futaba. I don't know the character well enough, but certainly like the look. You look at that and you're like, oh yeah, I know who. If you have any passing understanding or awareness of personas, it's like, oh yeah. Yeah,
right. Cool. Yeah, I love her so much. She's so cool. Oh my gosh, amazing story about Yanfei. So this is Yanfei from Genshin Impact. So I was into Genshin Impact when it like first came out and going through all the characters, but I didn't really have a character who was like, oh, do I want to cosplay this one? I don't know yet. And so eventually I was just curious, and I was like looking through there's tons of Genshin Impact characters. So I was looking through a list of characters and their birthdays. So I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a character who had like the same birthday as me? So I scrolled down to July 28th, and it's Yanfei, this character that I'm cosplaying. And I'm like, no way, she's so cute. And we have the same birthday. And I don't know, just something about it just felt like fate. Like something about
it's really cool. I love this
right. One. It's something weird like that. And I do that too with like characters that are my height. Like, oh, this character's 5'5". I love them already. I don't know what it is. I think because a lot of anime characters tend to be way shorter than that, especially women. So I was like, well, Yanfei, she's cute. She's got her vision is like pyro, which is fire. So her powers are like fire. So like that just screams something that I would love to do. So me and my friends, we bought these cosplays off of, where did I get this? I think Doki Doki Cosplay. This one was a little bit more expensive, unfortunately, but totally worth it. The cosplay held together so well with such high quality. And this I wore at Ichiban Con. Actually, outside, I'm wearing that in like 28-degree Fahrenheit weather. So like -1 degree Celsius weather. And
Wow.
it was so cold, but it was so worth it to get pictures like this. So that was my latest cosplay. This cosplay I was really nervous about because it had been a while since I had cosplayed, and I was like, do I remember like how to make sure I don't fall apart? You know what I mean? So it was really fun. I enjoyed so much cosplaying with my friends, and we did like a Genshin Impact photo shoot with probably 100 other Genshin Impact cosplayers. So very, very fun.
Awesome.
See, if I have a quick one, with cosplaying, what is your favorite experience? Going to cosplays, anime ones in America or Japan, and why? Which one's better for you? More exciting.
So I've only gotten the chance to do it once in Japan, and I want to do a cosplay at Tokyo Comic-Con, which is like a big 100,000 people go kind of event, to get like another experience. But as it stands now, I definitely prefer America because and I would say that I also prefer American conventions as a whole because it is a little bit more about community, whereas at least the ones that I go to in America, it's very community. And it's just nice to be able to just show up and cosplay. You don't have to like get ready in this small space. And like Japan conventions, there's certain spaces that cosplayers can go and certain areas that they don't allow the cosplay. So there are a lot more rules, which, while I respect them, it can be a little bit annoying, especially when you come from America, and it's a lot more free to just kind of cosplay what you want, wherever you want, when you want. So I do prefer America like that. America has kind of a I enjoy doing the fan panels in America because fan panels aren't really something that happen at Japanese conventions. It's more, at least at like Anime Japan and Comic-Con Tokyo, it's more corporate. It's more of a corporate event where the panels are ran by actual companies and like industry voice actors and stuff like that, which is totally cool and fine. So I really like the fan aspect of conventions in America, but there are smaller events in Japan that are more about fans and community, but I just haven't had a chance to go to a lot of them yet.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
right.
interesting to know. Ours are similar as far, like I've never been to anything in the US, but the companies that run them, it's a very small pool. So it's basically like the ones in Canada are run, like Fan Expo is now in a bunch of different cities,
really?
for example. And so there's like 3 or 4 of them in Canada, and that's going to be the same experience, it's run the same way no matter where it is, US or Canada. So yeah, it's interesting to kind of get a sense of like what the difference is with Japanese. Like, yeah, I guess I would have just probably assumed it was exactly like I just would have assumed they're all just the same. So I kind of wonder, like Europe and other areas that have maybe not anime necessarily, whether they have them at their conventions, but just like what their convention experience is like.
Right. It's so interesting because like, in North America, it's like maybe like 30 to 40% of people are in cosplay, and you're just like walking through like the dealer's room area, and there's just cosplayers everywhere. But in Japan, it's a lot more separate. I think the reason being is because a lot of the cosplayers that you'll find on like the dealer space in Japan, they're hired by the companies or the booths to be like cosplayers for that thing. Like for example, Nekopara, which is a like an anime cat girl made cringy game that I love. They had a booth at Comic-Con, and so they had like the whole cast of girls, and they hired these cosplayers. So I just don't think they want other cosplayers to like show up. And I guess that sounds a little bit like almost petty in a way for them to do that, but it's totally understandable because the cosplay as an industry is like so much more industrialized in Japan, I feel, than it is in America. So that might be why they do it that way. But yeah, there's just a lot of differences. But I think I like Japan events because the exclusive items that you can buy at Japan events are just like bar to none.
Can I get another question?
Let's see. I don't know if I asked last time. Hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Give me a second.
It's okay. There it goes. He did it. Bless you. Oh, he's doing it again.
Wow, they just had it happen
go.
at that right moment. Jeez.
Right.
Did I mute it good?
You did, but don't
Yeah,
worry. I
we
made a
heard
little
it.
sound effect for you. Just
Okay. All right, let's go. Let's get to it. Let's see. What was I gonna ask? Hold on. Your experience in Japan has been one of the coolest things I've seen in your videos, and do you have any new favorite foods that you just love now, or something always sticks to you, like you always gotta go to eat, like you have to, like something, whether it's something you go like a favorite restaurant of type of food you eat, and something you just maybe buy at the store.
recently I've been a lot more into seafood. I can't explain why. I was not a seafood fan by any means when I lived in the States. And then it took me a while to adjust to seafood here because I wasn't sure how much I was going to be into it. But then when I worked in Japanese school and the school lunches were like fish, like all the time, like aji fry and just aji in general, like horse mackerel fish, I was like, I really started to get a taste for seafood. So now if I'm like out, I'm a little bit more adventurous into seafood, and even like raw fish too, like sashimi, which is like the raw salmon or raw tuna on rice kind of sushi kind of situation. So yeah, those two. I've been. I think this summer I'm really excited to travel a little bit more and go to some more seaside places and try more seafood.
Really cool, really cool. I know you do. How is it? Your experience when you go to restaurants, you enjoy a good time with your husband. So it's really cool to know, like you have your partner, you're there enjoying such wonderful times, and a place you love being. You always go back to. So it's kind of nice, when you see some videos and you have your partnership and your friends you make, and so something like how. Give me, let's say, I want to go one day in the future. These times a little bit, when things happen right now in the world, and so maybe I would wait a little bit before when things really kind of, hopefully things cool down, what's going on in Ukraine and all that. So it's very sad, but I do want to make my way, not just because there's Nintendo Land over there or Super Nintendo Land. I want to go there because I want to, love the culture of Japan. And that's what I want to do. So it's kind of like, man, it's like a dream that has to be fulfilled in life, and that's eventually, going back to Disney World is one of those. Japan is like the only other one that just either way. So tell me why any new person should go and visit Japan with your experience. What can you tell them why we should check it out?
Man, well, I think especially in America, it's very common that like most people have not stepped foot out of the United States. So I just think that when you travel to a new place, your mind is a lot more open to like different ideas of the ways of life. And so visiting is so different than like living here too. But if someone just like even visits here, I think that they can have a little bit more appreciation for the way people live their lives, and then maybe even like going back to America, they might be like, hey, America does this thing this way, but Japan does this thing this way, and I actually prefer the way that Japan does this, so why don't we do it this way? Or even it could be reversed too, like, oh man, I don't like the way Japan does this, so I don't want it to happen in my country. So, and I just think like you learn so much like by being here and visiting shrines or like museums, like you learn a lot historically, culturally, and like you'll just be able to go back to America and just brag to all your friends how much you know about Japan because you visited there.
That would be awesome.
I know a guy. His name's Charles Dunbar. He's a panelist that I know on the East Coast, and we're really good friends. And he he's so smart, and he has like a degree in like cultural anthropology, and like he knows so much about Japan. And but even I would imagine that he's read so many books about Japan. He's so educated about Japan, but he really didn't get to come to Japan until maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. And I'm sure that he expanded his knowledge, and like everyone can learn something new if they just come here and engage in the culture and visit,
Yeah, I think I'm just excited for one day to make that venture, and I don't want to be 20 years from now or 30 years from now and super old. I want to do it when I still feel young, just enjoy that adventure. Yeah. So like I said, just, things are looking good, work, things like that here. Save up money for, a good trip, for maybe a future. I would say within the next 3 years, it has to be done. It has to be a fulfillment before within the next 2, really. Just trying to tackle, like I'm already planning a Disney World trip. That's the next phase for me. And taking my 3-year-old, he'll be near 3.5 or near 4 years old, depending on, what happens. So it's just his little thing that I want to do for him. So he just turned 3 on Tuesday. So tomorrow is his first visit to Chuck E. Cheese. We'll try that, see how that feels, and this experience. And
so fun.
He's really wild. So I hope I have fun. I'm gonna have to control this little boy. He says, Luigi is gonna have to be a good boy to dad, and just. Well, I'll just have, hey, Mom, we got to do this. Get one side to get the other side. If he runs one way, go the other way, or get him on some rides, and then venture into the next couple of weeks when Six Flags Great America opens up within the area. Then, start venturing in that, and then get to the Disney World later. So then, then do my thing.
If you take him to Chuck E. Cheese, he'll be asking you to take him to Chuck E. Cheese every day for the next, 10 years or something.
I hope the experience is good, and I mean, I've always had a good one with my kids, with my older kids when they were younger. So I'm assuming that it should be good in the area we live at. It should be pretty okay. Some places get kind of run down over the years, but I think the place in my area is going to be pretty okay because it's always pretty good town that keeps up renovation, newer things. So either way. But back to myself with Japan, and that's when I got to treat myself. And maybe getting in touch with some basic wording, so at least I don't go in there completely blank. At least I can say something to say hello to people, or maybe get some type of language in the mind, because that's also been the thing. Just kind of, dude, you can't just go to Japan without knowing a few words or something to get there. Are there tour guides in there, or people that help you out, or you just kind of?
If that's something that you want to do, like you can find online a bunch of like tour guides who will take you everywhere. If you feel like you need a tour guide, then I would definitely go for it. But if you feel like you're good with directions, and if you like being kind of free, like, my favorite thing to do is just, if I go somewhere, don't really have a plan, just like walk around. And if something piques your interest, if you see something, you're like, I'm gonna go check out and see what that is. You can't really do that as much with a tour guide, I guess. So it really depends on how open you are and how like explorative you are. Really, I've never done the tour guide thing in Japan personally, but if you're a little bit nervous about, especially people who are maybe more country bumpkins, or like haven't really even been to like New York City or Chicago or like big cities, they might not be used to getting around on trains, or the city can be very overwhelming to them, so maybe to the people like that, I would recommend.
I would definitely go ahead.
Oh, but I was just gonna say, like, that's like, I don't really ever do that, and I don't even think it's because I've lived in Japan for 4 years. But even when I first, like the day that I moved to Japan, like I just, from my hotel near the airport, I just got on a train and went to Tokyo and just did it by myself. Like, it's definitely possible. Like, it can be a little overwhelming, but I think, either way you want to do it.
I think for myself, I definitely live in like 40 minutes from Chicago. I've been there through so many times throughout my life, and I've actually made several trips in the last few years. I would drive to New York City, 15-hour drive, up and back, and I've been there a few times. Going through those cities and knowing how more impacted it is in New York compared to Chicago. I know, like, you have to fight people in the road to get just compared to Chicago's more somewhat organized with the roads. They're all busy, but I got the experience somehow. And train. I would love to ride a train in Japan. It's just something that everything I want to do. Everything is walk around, check. Just see how different things you've seen in movies or things you've learned and besides history and all that. So it would be an adventurous thing. But I would probably only bring my significant other and not. I don't think I'd bring kids for my first.
It
I
can
think
be
it would be more like
overwhelming for kids, I think.
Yeah, it'd be something like, for me, I might be overwhelmed, and something like my vacation to myself and my partner, and then just like, boom, go check it out, brag about it, and but still to enjoy it, make sure it's like a full week or something, not just a few days. But either way,
that's a week at the least for sure.
Yeah. So Ryan, about you?
So how are the talking travel? None of us that I'm aware of have plans per se. Chronoz, you're talking about dreaming of going there. I guess have tentative plans at this point. I just started working again. Every time you're on, I'm like fresh into a job. I was longer last time, and that was not as good a position. Like it was just a bad environment.
Oh, I think I did see on Twitter that you just got done with your first week of a new job.
Yeah, and it's like all the nonsense that I've been through with jobs and through COVID, it's like it almost is like preparing me to appreciate this more. But I guess in a certain way, you're like a lucky charm. Every time you're on, I have a job. Awesome. So thank you for that, I guess. For whatever luck that you bring.
Whatever luck I brought.
But assuming that continues to work well, my tentative plans are 2024. I will have the finances as long as I keep working. That will happen. So it's just a matter of like, I'm actually curious where things are with borders and restrictions in terms of like how Japan is managing through COVID, even though that's so far out still. But like where are things at currently?
It's so weird. There's a lot that I know, and then there's a lot that I don't know. So March 1st, they decided to open up borders for business travelers and students. And there's like hundreds of thousands of business travelers and students trying to get in. Japan accepts a crap ton of students each year to participate in their like foreigners program and stuff. And that's been non-existent for the last 2 years. So there's students that have like put their education on hold in order to come and study in Japan. So they're getting all of those people in now. So depending on how well that goes, maybe April, there will be, what I would imagine is Japan wanted to do this like tourism trial thing where they let certain groups of people come in and they're kind of like monitored about like where they go and stuff like that. There's like health checks and stuff. And then maybe if that goes well in April, maybe May is the big month for people to get super ready, like all these businesses to get ready for actual tourism. So I'm hoping like maybe late May or June tourism could open, but who knows? There's a lot of Asian countries now that aren't open to tourism in the regular sense. So I'm hoping by summer. I have people who have tickets to come in August. So I hope the best for them and their travels. Hopefully they'll be able to happen, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I can only predict.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking like a couple of years out, like ideally COVID will be more or less managed at that point. To say nothing of other world circumstances will hopefully be under control. And, I mean, you never know because COVID just suddenly happened, but hoping for the best. And that's at least a long enough amount of time where hopefully things are good.
I miss people. I miss people coming to visit friends. And, I think I talked about this on the show last time, but I moved closer to Tokyo. I'm still in Ibaraki Prefecture, but about an hour train ride from Tokyo versus like a 6-7 hour bus ride. And I was like so excited to have people because most people they're gonna fly into Tokyo and visit Tokyo and stuff. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna be able to visit my friends so much easier. And it's just like these 2 years, none of my friends have been able to come in as tourists. It sucked so bad. So I'm just really looking forward to being able to see friends here again in Japan. So
Sooner or later, normalcy will happen again.
Yes, please.
It must.
I'm just so
It
ready
just
for
must.
it. Yeah, I've done everything I've had to do to keep it away from me as much as I can, but
Yeah.
I'm ready
Yeah,
for
that's-
normal life.
That's
Um,
crazy. Go ahead, Ryan.
As we come to sort of the wrap up, I did want to say I don't know if we necessarily have time to kind of go into it, but Chronoz said like, oh, it's good to know a little bit of things to say, and when you're traveling to another country, we kind of touched on that last time, and honestly, I sort of did my homework on that. Yeah, I have notes because it's not great, but yeah, I guess I'll leave that there. And
I mean, if you want to talk about, I mean, we got some time if we want to add in more. I mean,
yeah, I just want to say like if we have any other questions that can kind of be put to the side, like do you have anything else you want to ask at this point?
I'm okay right now, but yeah. So if you're good. I mean, if you want to, I'm good with my questions. If you want to go ahead and continue, if you had that, you said you had another question or so. Or, yeah. I mean,
no, I don't have any other question.
Okay.
I was just mentioning like that we had talked about good phrases and that to know, and so like I kind of did a little bit with that.
Yeah. What did we do last time? Did we learn thank you? Arigatou gozaimasu?
Yeah, arigatou gozaimashita.
Arigatou gozaimashita.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
I don't think all of these necessarily are. I think some of them I just wrote down and I was like, this will be useful. Gomen nasai. I'm Canadian, so I have to know how to say that.
Yeah. Good.
You have to be able to say I'm sorry in any language that you could speak as a Canadian. Sumimasen.
Yeah, that every day.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's excuse me to get someone's attention. What else? So in terms of speaking to someone directly, I have focused mostly. Those are just things I picked up here and there. I've focused mostly on being able to say konnichiwa, boku wa Ryan desu, boku wa Kanadajin desu.
Oh my god!
The other two I don't quite have down. Nihongo wa sukoshi wakarimashita.
Nihongo ga sukoshi wakaru. You understand a little bit.
Eigo wakarimasu ka?
Do you understand English? Nice.
Yeah, so I don't speak much Japanese. Do you understand English? What I'm trying to still kind of think. I feel like if I can say all that, then they're like, oh, you spent a lot of time on this.
Right.
So I might actually try and talk with you.
They're going to think you're so cool because you're from Canada. I'm not even lying because, they meet a lot of Americans. Japan loves Canada. I don't know what it is. Canada, okay. No, Japan loves Justin Bieber and Avril Lavigne. So they're from Canada.
They're gonna love Ryan.
Yeah, they love Canada. I meet so many Japanese people where they're like, oh, I studied abroad. And I'm like, oh, where'd you study abroad? They're always like, Canada. I went to Canada. I love Canada. So
yeah, I haven't traveled much, but between the Dominican on my honeymoon, Mexico when I was married in Mexico with my family. Not much outside of the US, but generally I do have at least a little bit of awareness of no matter where I go, if people know where I'm from, the general response 80+% of the time is like, oh, we like you. You're the internationally beloved part of the world community.
Very, very true.
I got lucky in that way, I guess.
Very true. There'll be I had a friend who he's actually from Jordan. He's from Jordan in the Middle East, and but he was talking in English or something, but with an accent, being from the Middle East. And I don't know what it was, but some Japanese person next to him was like, stupid American. And then he turned around and in Japanese, told him I'm actually from Jordan. So it's a lot of people just assume oh, if you're speaking English, you're from America. which is like so annoying because it's like so not true. There's actually, it's funny. In my 4 years here, I really have barely met other Americans. Like, I think as far as like coworkers, very few Americans. Most of the people that I've met are actually either from Canada or from the UK. It's crazy.
Oh.
Even though I think statistically there are more Americans in Japan, but that's just the way it goes, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Chronoz, you had a few more questions before we wrap up?
Let's see. Do I have your if anything comes to mind of all your experiences, your favorite all around time and moment that you in your 4 years of Japan, what is the one that comes straight to mind where you just will always remember so far as one of the greatest experiences living in Japan? You know, like something that comes to mind right away.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. One of my favorite experiences was I went to go see a Japanese band that I like called Nanoripe, and they do like some anime openings. Like you people might know them from like Food Wars or Nonon Biori, which is like what I love them for. And so I went to their concert in Sendai, and I met just so many cool people there, so many new friends. And at that point, I really didn't know much Japanese. It was about 3 years ago. And this gentleman was like, after the concert, he was part of the band's fan club, and he had gotten this like signed print from the band. And he's like, I want you to have this signed print from the band. I was like, you're giving this to me? Like, why are you giving this to me? It's so like what an amazing like gift. It turns out that he goes all over Japan watching this band, so he had like a ton of them. So I guess it wasn't that special, but it was just like a really nice thing because, you know, I'm a foreigner, I'm an outsider or whatever, and to you hear all these bad experiences that foreigners have in Japan, but I've had so little bad experiences and many more positive ones. Like, you know, I've gone to concerts in America where like people are just rude and mean and don't talk to each other, and so, but it wasn't the case at all at this event. In fact, that gentleman, he actually let me put my stuff in his locker at the venue to keep it safe, and then he introduced me to all these friends and stuff. So that was just a really special memory, and I still have that signed band print too. And I don't know, I just didn't expect to go to this concert and make friends and just feel so welcome. Like I was just like everyone else. So that was probably my favorite memory.
Cool. Thank you for that. And that'll be it for me, for myself, for questions.
Well, thank you.
I did actually have one last, not more of like a, I guess, on the spot quiz.
Oh no!
It's
quiz time.
Yeah,
quiz
you
time.
tweet. It's a one question, or a one ask, not so much a question. So you tweeted, I think it was ahead of the Chinatown video when you put that up, that you had tried a new editing technique and you didn't think anyone would notice. So the quiz question, or not question, the pop quiz on the spot is, I'm gonna take a stab at what I think it was.
Okay.
I might even be totally wrong. That I'm assuming it's.
There's two specific ones I think I did, but yeah, you go for it.
Okay, so clearly I think it's from that specific video, and so at the start, there's what I would refer to as sort of like motion graphics, but it's subtle. It's almost looking like the way that old CRT TVs, the picture would break, and so there's things kind of sliding across the screen, or having worked in marketing, what they refer to in video in the picture as noise, even though image is not noise per se, but
it becomes aesthetic nowadays because it's
retro. So I noticed that was added in at the start, and I was like, I bet that's what she was talking about. So that was one of the ones. I kind of wanted to play with like the film filters. So there's two kinds of filters on that B-roll. It's like you can go on YouTube and you can get like actual like film grain kind of layers, and then take those and put them on top of your footage and mess with the opacity settings. And then I did like a Fujifilm
a layer on top of that to make it kind of look like an old video camera style like footage.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm glad you noticed.
Yeah. Well, I only caught the one, but yeah, no, that would let it look good. I like.
Well, the other one wasn't really that big of one. It's just I just learned how to do it. I've learned how to motion track blurred faces. So if there's someone in your video who you don't want their face to be shown in a video, which is very popular in Japanese like media. Yeah, it's not hard. Like it's something that's like really built into Adobe Premiere, but I've always been scared to use it because I just thought it might take too much time. But I've learned how to like blur faces and have that track like the face and stuff. So it's actually like really easy. It looks like it's so complicated to do, but it's really not. So I was really proud of myself that I learned how to do that.
Awesome,
which is why that video took a little bit more time. Plus it was really making my computer chug. So it was just taking
Yeah. I remember I haven't edited with Premiere, but between Premiere and After Effects, it's not hard to, once you learn how to do it, the tracking to do a blur. But yeah, it will. That is pretty resource intensive. So I'm not surprised that took much longer.
It's so hard. Yeah, and sometimes some editing skills, they just look difficult and they look overwhelming, and there might be 7 steps, but each of those steps is very simple, and then like it's very obvious the next time you go and do it. Yeah. So it's like it's not even a big crazy editing technique, but it was just something new that I wanted to try and put in the video. So
additional to this and to watching your Ginger Gaiden content, watching fun, enjoyable stuff, YouTube is also a great resource for picking up these little things that you want to learn about video editing, or maybe it's not something you want to learn, maybe it's just something to be inspired by in terms of graphics.
Definitely.
Anyway, Chronoz, did you have anything further that you wanted to throw in? Or?
No, so that was everything's good at the moment. I did forget to play the Skyward Sword song, but I'll play that at the end, I would say, just kind of like closing out. I'll play that and then the Chronoz thing as we close it in. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm good.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much for your time. It's always great to talk to you, and certainly I'll reach out again at some point, and we'd love to have you back again.
Thank you guys.
There's always lots of great, like I said earlier, there's always lots of great stuff to talk about. You're always doing lots of stuff. You have lots of various differing interests. There wasn't a lot of what we talked about, honestly, that was planned tonight. The general idea of I want to talk about
just talking.
The cosplaying and the convention stuff. And,
nice and chill, relax. And I needed a chill time today. Work's been a drag, and make it. I made COVID kits at Abbott's, so it's kind of like all that running around and stuff. And then you're thinking, is this job going to end soon or whatever? The pandemic going to be, when is it's slowing down? But then really it's not. It's just out there. Everyone's just being more. Things are just more mellowed out. People who are getting vaccinated or whatever, they just are announcing today that our jobs are going to be. It seems from what we're hearing from certain people that we should still it was supposed to be June that the job ends. Now we heard it's going to be like 2023 June. So it's even further. So I'm still looking for something more stable because the job will end eventually. So, but it's still good, knowing I got more time with it. And makes very good money, but just for all that, whatever we do, our lives should be safe, and everything we do, enjoy, things we love doing. Like you love being in Japan and doing, a lot of stuff with in your channel and things like that. All your information is also in the description, just like last time, so you can find you on YouTube, on Twitter, and all that. Did you have a website too? I think so. Was it the?
Yeah. I do. I need to update it, but it's just gingergaiden.com. We'll take
yes, it's on there. Yeah, I have it on there too. But just another way to find you for those who are watching this episode and who will later on, just to know where you're at and and keep up with how the channel is going. So, Ryan, if you want to go ahead, again, I'll finish out by saying, thank you for your time. It's very interesting to get to know you again and keep up with you on Twitter, etc. So again, thank you, Ryan, for bringing for KIiRA again, for always you always got good people, it's very interesting, as we keep learning each time. Now, again, I want to keep on thinking of my adventure to Japan one day, and consider it more just the same thing, build up and let the COVID slow down and make my way. So either way, thank you again for that, Ryan, and for KiiRA for showing up, for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you so much for your time. And I always I will never reach out to someone that I'm not like, oh, I'm interested in having them on. It's just, this is great that it has been the first one that's worked out, and hopefully there will be others. But
100%.
I appreciate that you're always willing to join us and have great conversation and great time with us. And
Thank you. It's always very fun. Very fun to talk to you too.
Awesome. And yeah, please do check out her content. Her content is fantastic. Highly recommended. I think I shared a video recently. I'm trying to keep on top of sharing more things from different friends. So yeah, please check out KiiRA's content. It is awesome.
Thank you.
Across the board, all good stuff. Thank you very much for anyone that joined in to watch us tonight, or anyone that was in. I don't think I saw any comments, but thank you if you were in the chat and we just didn't catch it. Thank you for watching, and we're gonna head out with. You said it was the Skyward Sword
freestyle
from MasterSword Music, and this has been episode 99. If anyone wants to, like anyone that's in any of the three of us wants to chat afterwards, more than welcome. But we're gonna end with that, and then we won't be live anymore. So, good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.
See y'all next time. And here we go.
Master Sword Music. Master Sword Music.
Guess who's back? Oh, it's TJ the Gamer. And this here is the Skyward Sword freestyle. My mic is the goddess sword up in this bitch. Upgraded to master, one hell of a switch. I am the best, don't know what else to tell ya. It's like not knowing my favorite game Zelda. If you don't get it, not talking to you. Always got energy, stemming the fruit. My flow is so clean like it's fresh out the shower. I got the courage and wisdom and power. This time I'm just giving it all that I got. Bring the game to me like a claw shot, and I can't stop, I just keep going. Blowing up like I'm bomb bowling. The next level is what I bring. I'm soaring high like a loft wing. Can't stop, I'm doing my thing. Ballad of the goddess, yeah, I sing. Give a little bit more, going full throttle, and I cannot die. Got a berry in a bottle, I knew I was the one from the start. Tune sounded like the goddess heart. My flow will leave you so hypnotized. A challenge to me leads to demise. Yeah, guess who's back?
Master Sword Music.
TJ the Gamer. Yeah, this the Chronoz show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, this the Chronoz show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, this the Chronoz show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, this the Chronoz show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, yeah, this the Chronoz show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus got one of the best cast that you have ever seen. You really missing out if you haven't heard that this show here to stay. So go pass the word, old school or new school. Check us out on YouTube. It don't matter what you like, we got something for you. Just one more thing to say before I start to close. Shout out to my homies at the Chronoz show. The Chronoz show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, that's the Chronoz show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, that's the Chronoz show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh, that's the Chronoz show. Games, music, movie, TV, we got what you need. Plus the gamers round, ooh.
Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Ho!